special presentation of the Sim Racing Channel. Real racing virtually.
All right, everybody, welcome to Turn Down for What's pre-race show. We are here at Indy. I'm joined in the booth by Shadilak. I'm not sure if Pete was going to be able to make it tonight or if he's in here secretly. Nope, I haven't heard him. All right, so it's just me and Shad for tonight. We are running around the second playoff race here for Turn Down for What. We'll see who's able to lock themselves in. Kyle Taub, last week's winner, locks himself into the championship race. And the other drivers here have two more races to try to either win or work their way in by points. Shad, any one of these drivers that you're particularly watching as a potential for tonight's win, or at least to maybe be a points, ability to get into the championship?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you got to look at the guy who's won the most races and throughout the season. That's Tyler Dohar. Had a little bit of a unfortunate, getting caught up into a wreck last week. I fully expect him to bounce back this week as long as the old caution or wreck does not tag him again in this race. But I feel like he's going to be strong. And then also another guy who I know is pretty good here won, I think, last season's race at Indy when Turned Out for What visited there. And that's going to be Nathan Lehman. I know he's actually really good at here. Like I said, he did win last year when Turned Down for What visited Indy. So I wouldn't be surprised if the win comes from either one of those two, but there is always that one guy who always seems to sneak up and take a race. So, but I expect one of those two is going to be your winner tonight.
All right, well, we do have the gridding as completed, and wow, is the top 10 loaded with playoff drivers, Shad. Ryan McCall getting Cole Snyder getting the pole tonight, and I do believe there was a $5 reward for that pole tonight. He yanks the pole away from the rest of the playoff drivers. Ryan McCall getting second right now on the outside. That is a playoff driver, along with Hunter Peach, going to be third. Kyle Taub fourth. Zach Meredith fifth. Nate Lehman sixth. Byron Jones seventh. Tyler Dohar eighth. Chris Murphy ninth, and Pacey Wygen will be 10th. Shad, that top 10 is stacked full of playoff drivers. Only one non-playoff driver in that top 10 as we come through turns 3 and 4 here.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting down to the later part of the season. Those guys who are in the playoffs are going to be the guys that continue to stack the field when it comes to qualifying. And it just keeps showing up race by race that those guys that are in the playoffs are showing why they're in the playoffs. And it all starts with qualifying and having a great, spot starting the race, because track position, especially here at Indy, does play a factor. And it's no surprise to me to see all those guys up in the top 10.
We're getting ready for the green flag to drop, and there it goes as Cole Snyder's going to get the jump on the inside line. He's going to go into turn 1 and 2 and try to get away from the 30 of Ryan McCall. You see there on the outside. Well, Shad, which lane is the favorite lane for you on a restart?
Here at Indy, low line is where you want to be through these turns. You do not want to be stuck on the outside going through these turns. You might be able to make it through 1 and 2, but eventually you're going to work your way down to the bottom. So to me, you want to be on that low line.
So we're seeing right now Ryan McCall stuck on the outside with Hunter Peach on the bottom, being pushed by the 16 of Kyle Taub, sliding up the track, almost clips the 30 right there. That was some very close driving between those two. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little bit of paint missing from that rear end of the 30 from the 16 right there. That was super close, Shad.
Yeah, it's just, close racing, a lot of take here in the beginning of this race, not much give. So hopefully these guys learn to back down. It's a long race. It takes, almost a minute to complete a lap around at Indy. So hopefully these guys have learned to maybe back it down just a little bit and see if maybe you can beat a guy on pace and not just, diving on him, getting on the restart or something like that.
Yeah, we'll see those lines being split up, guys trying to use the draft all over the place. You see Ryan McCall there going to the inside line now, but there's a train of cars on the outside line. He's losing more positions as he's sitting there. Byron Jones trying to get to his outside, but Ryan able to hold that position off. Now he's going to be looking for the next set of cars to come up behind him. Do you want to be the car that goes off and runs super hard right off the bat from the start of the race, Shad, or are you somebody that maybe wants to sit back if you started in the middle of the field?
I know fuel here is not going to play an issue. Papa Bear stated earlier in the week that they're going to up the fuel. So you don't have to worry about fuel as far as the stages or pretty much any part of the race. So and with the fuel going up, that means the tire wear also goes up. So I'm curious to see how quickly the tires do burn off with the times where being a little different, or at least the fuel. I'm not sure the tires are different or not, but that means these cars are starting out heavier, more of a load on these tires. So I don't know. To me, at Indy, you still don't want to be a guy that goes out there and burns them up. I know these corners are pretty quick, but you still want to save a little, I think. And if you're one of those guys that goes out there and lays down fast lap times right off the bat, I think you're going to find yourself struggling as the run goes on.
Well, I mean, we've seen a lot of guys drive this thing a little different, but we've always right around that 65, 60% fuel range with that added weight to the car. I'm wondering if this car will drive a little different than these guys have been expecting this car to run. That fuel change came kind of out of the blue there that we were going to swap it up. So I don't know if a lot of guys have been able to run the 100% fuel, if that did change maybe their driving style. Have you tested it all with 100% fuel? Does it make the car tighter, looser, anything like that as far as the next gens with all the updates they've done to it? I mean, I know back when we first started with the next gens on iRacing Super Speedway, I think that was 100% fuel and the car felt fine, but I never really tested it anywhere else. How about you?
Yeah, I've done some testing. Maybe a league hasn't put up a test session or something like that. I go and run it on my own on iRacing just to get familiar with the track. And yeah, I mean, to me, the cars drive a little bit different. They're more tight because you have more fuel on there. But for the most part, it's pretty much the same. Just maybe a little bit tighter. But I don't think these guys really feel too much difference. If any of them had done any practice, and I think Papa Bear put up a practice session anyways during the week, so these guys should be pretty familiar of how their cars are going to drive.
Hey, gentlemen.
What's going on, Papa?
Hey there. Hey, I wanted to step in here real quick. Your poll winner tonight for the $5 iRacing bucks, he asked me to donate it to Christine's Warriors. So if you guys could get me that link so I could donate to that to them, that would be very, very much appreciated.
Oh, okay, yeah. Mama Bear is out there in the chat right now. So, Mama Bear, if you can repost the link that you've been posting every week for us, I would really appreciate it there. That way, Papa Bear can grab that link from you and donate from Cole Snyder, tonight's poll winner, getting that $5 worth of iRacing. He just wants to donate it straight to the support and just go from there. So, Mama Bear, if you're still out there, if you can drop that link for us, we'd definitely appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Yep. One of the things I want to talk about, Mike, if you're still here, Mike, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to bring it up. It's not just Christine's Warriors for tonight that I'm presenting a logo out there. Mike, you may know a little bit more information. I don't want to mess anything up, but we've also got the orange ribbon on screen along with the pink ribbon for Christine's Warriors. The orange ribbon that I have out there is No One Fights Alone for Bill Hells. Could you give us a little rundown of what's going on there?
What I have found out was Bill Hells has found out he recently got his cancer back, and it is in his kidneys. So what Mike Allen told me is that they're going to schedule surgery and they're going to have to take out his kidneys, of course, but and hopefully they'll be able to take care of it, and we're standing behind Bill Hills as a group here. I mean, he's not alone in this. We're all here to support him.
Yeah, I just put up the graphic, the other graphic that I I think, had posted. I've got it on there right now. Bill Hills, nobody fights alone in this family. With Christine's Warriors, we've said it for a long time that most of the guys in this group, Shad, Mike, myself, Alpha, I mean, there's so many of us in this group that have known each other for a very long time, and we may fight, we may argue, we may get on each other's nerves and things like that, but it is definitely refreshing to know when you're in a situation or a family situation or a personal situation, whatever it is. This whole group of guys comes together and tries to support each other and does whatever we can, to help each other. And I mean, there's other things we've done. The Alpha One Foundation that we've done stuff for, Christine's Warriors, we've done that. I believe this is like the second or third time we've done that. I think we did an NR 1.2, but I mean, there's just so many different things we've done. Pete even said about the kid that we helped with the wheelchair and things like that. I mean, it's just a lot that, everybody here just tries to help and tries to, take that burden off of you a little bit, even if it's just getting you, to mindset of think of something different rather than, think about your personal issue going on. If we can, make a joke or get something just to get you not thinking about it, even for a minute, it's got to be, something worth to that person just to, not have that minute of thought about the situation you're going through. So there's a lot going there. I definitely want to give my prayers to Bill Hells. Raced with him, raced against him. I've known him for a while now, and I definitely want to give my thoughts and prayers to him. I see Mama Bear out there. She did post the link again for you, Papa Bear, for Cole's donation straight to there. And then she also said prayers for Bill and his family. So we're definitely thinking about you, Christine, and we're definitely thinking about Bill Hells. It's just you never want to hear that. So never want to hear it about a friend or a family member or anything like that. And I think we definitely consider Bill a for sure friend, and a family have turned down for what?
That's right. That's right. And you guys hit it right on the nose. Shad said it last week too. No matter how much these guys fight and argue and don't get along, when something like this comes about, everybody pulls together and big family, even though it's just like brothers. You're all gonna fight and argue at some point.
Oh yeah, I'll fight with Shad every day, but if he needs me, I'm there. So,
All right, I gotta get back to race control, guys.
all right, Mike. All
Thank
right,
you.
Chad, we're about 11 laps into this race. Stage 1 is set for lap 16. Right now, Cole Snyder is looking like his good buddy J-Paw out here, just really kind of running away with Hunter Peach and Nate Lehman there. You were talking about Nate Lehman earlier as being probably a favorite for you to be, winning this track, or at least being at the end. He's looking pretty good. He's moved up to third. He started third. So the top three obviously very friendly with each other, and they are moving away from everybody. Byron Jones, though, is on the move. I think he's somebody to watch, though.
Yeah, Byron, I just seen Zach Meredith got loose coming off of turn 2, lost a lot of momentum that allowed the two of Byron Jones to get by him. Byron, started 7th, has worked his way up to 4th, and is actually closing that gap a little bit on the front 2. He was about 2.2 seconds back the last time I looked, about 2 laps ago, and he's already cut it down to 1.6. And I think, as you can see with the front 3 pulling away by so much off the start, I'm wondering if those front 3, 4 with Meredith, they used their tires up as Meredith is continuing to lose positions. And Byron was kind of, back there leading that second pack, saving his stuff. We know Byron is really good at saving tires. We know Kyle Taub, who's right there behind Byron now, he's good at saving tires, and then always Tyler Dohar too. Were those guys saving tires, letting the front 3 go out there and burn their stuff up, get a gap? As we see, Meredith gets loose, coming off of 4, collects the 78 of Dohar. I don't know if that's going to bring on the caution or not.
Well, if that did not bring out the caution, I'd be surprised. But I do believe Dohar is going to be very upset.
Yeah, he just put it in the wall again coming off of turn 1. Got a pretty good amount of damage on that front right of that 78 car.
We'll go back and take a look at this real quick, but there's been some battling back and forth between these guys here. And even as current as today, they had a few words for each other in our Discord, and it got shut down pretty quick. But you hate to see it. I don't think anything is happening there, but I guarantee you Dohar is not happy right now, and it looks like he might have, what would you say, a toe link broke, Shad, or something? Because it looks like it's swaying all over the place on him.
Let me get a...
We'll go
Looking at
back
the
and
right
try to
front
pull
on
it
the
up.
camera, it doesn't look too bad as far as a toe link or anything like that. I think right now what he's battling is just a tight race car with all that damage. It's not getting the correct downforce. Actually, hold on. Let me go rear suspension, because now that I see that.
Yeah, we're taking a look at the replay right now of Meredith to see exactly what happened here. And you can see Meredith going into turn 3. Gets through 3. McCall comes up behind him. He starts to block McCall. Goes into turn 4. You can see that back end is sliding on him. He tries to correct it, and it just wiggles on him and turns right into Dohar. Meredith ends up going down pit road, which is going to give him a black flag anyways. He might have a little bit of damage on the right side where Dohar ran into him, but Dohar, I think, is going to come away with the worst of that, and probably going to be the most upset about it.
Yeah, I don't think Dohar has anything broke on the car. He's just fighting a tight car going through the center and loose off. And I'm watching actually Cole Snyder right now is leading the race. His car's loose off too. And I spoke to a couple of the drivers before during practice, and they were saying that this track had split personalities, that it was real grippy and tight at the beginning and then real loose at the end of the run. So I think that's what a lot of guys are fighting right now, is a loose race car coming off these turns and then having damage to where it's tight. Only makes it worse, because now you're having to put some more steering wheel.
All right, and there's the caution for the stage.
Stage 1, yeah.
So Cole Snyder's going to win stage 1 there, with Hunter Peach finishing 2nd, Nate Lehman 3rd, Kyle Taub 4th, Ryan McCall 5th, that's going to be your stage point getters for this stage. That's definitely going to help Kyle Taub out. He's already locked in to the final race, but that is going to help Nate Lehman and Hunter Peach and Ryan McCall get those extra valuable points going into the playoffs, or being in the playoffs here to go to the championship. As I pull up the standings, Shad, I'm trying to look here. I mean, Kyle's locked in. You've got, the 3 guys who just secured stage points are the 3 guys who are at the bottom of the barrel right now for the standings. But these standings ain't that far separated. I mean, 9 points for Ryan McCall, 12 points for Lehman. You and I know that can be done in one race easily. A 16 for Hunter, that one's a little more difficult with him going out within, I think, like the first lap last week. He's going to be set a little bit back, but he's got one more race after this to make up the points. So if he could grab a couple extra bonus points here within the stages, I mean, he finished second, so that's going to give him at least 4, I think, for stage points. That's going to help him out for sure to close in the gap a little bit.
Yeah, and then, so yeah, he's going to make up some points right there with getting 4 stage points. If he can do the same this next stage, there's 8 points right there he's going to keep no matter what. So, in this race, as looking at these cars are obviously getting loose, so you never know, but he's already got 4 points in the bag. The loser to me in that sequence is Byron Jones. He was up to 4th. Was going to secure 2 stage points and fell out of the top 5. So he got no stage points, and he's right there on the edge of either going to make it in or not. So for him, he's going to have to.
Yeah, we've got a 3-way tie really
better
for 4th, 5th, and 6th in the points. So
yeah, so him losing out, even though it could be 1 point, 1 point we all know comes down at the end can make a difference of whether you're in or not. So
the only thing that helps him there, though, is that Pacey and Zach did not secure a bonus point as well. So those 3 didn't move at all with points in that stage. Dohar did not get a point. Ruiz did not get a point. Taub's already locked in, so it doesn't really matter what he does. But, I mean, like I said, the bottom 3, they just secured even 1 point, 2 points, 3 points, 4 points. That definitely helps them close that gap in. I mean, we could be looking at next week of having 4 or 5 guys within, 2 or 3 points of each other. That would be nuts coming down to the last race.
Yeah, and it being Talladega. So
yeah,
this race is really the race where you want to try to make up as much ground as you can, because come Talladega, anything can happen. You can be wrecked out on lap 1, or you could win both stages and win the race. So this is the track where you definitely wanted to try to keep your car clean and get as many points as you can, and that way you don't have to go into Talladega hoping for a miracle or hoping for a clean race, because a lot of times that doesn't come true. But Cole Snyder led from start of the drop of the green flag to the end of the white and green checkered. So a great run for him, but I was on board with him, and his car is definitely getting loose. So
well, let's grab Cole real quick and we'll talk to him. You guys are ex beating banging boxers on track, so we'll talk to him and see what you guys can talk about. All right, Cole Snyder, we got you up into the booth, buddy, in your 24 Rocket Machine tonight. You have led from the drop of the green flag. You got the pole. You got the pole reward. I did get a thank you for the donation that you made to Christine's Warriors with that $5 iRacing reward. So they definitely appreciate that. But how is this car feeling? We're seeing a lot of loose cars. Are you experiencing the same thing?
Hey man. Yeah, it's a handful, but it's fun. Just clean air is definitely something that everyone's gonna want. And I was just pretty excited to have my buddy Hunter Peach behind me, just being patient. But yeah, man, it's wild loose out here, but it's a good time.
Hey, Cole. So is it good on the start and then it works its way loose? Is that what you guys are experiencing right now?
Yeah, you get about maybe 2 to 3 laps where you're not really fighting it. But after that, man, it's like you're on ice entering these corners, and it's really in the middle of the corners on throttle. So if you're going to see people passing on the bottom, they're going to have to be super careful, but we'll just have to see. We got some wheelmen out here, so it'll be a good time.
Well, Cole, I'm trying to figure out here. Last time I think I've seen you in a lead was when you and Shad here were banging doors off of each other, I believe, at Texas. So You won't have to worry about that tonight. You have teammates around you. You got the 5, the 14, the 16. You guys are kind of all around each other right there. Is there any talk about, Hunter just got some playoff points or some stage points there to help himself. He's at the bottom of the playoff points right now. Same with Lehman and same with Ryan McCall, but I don't think you guys are close with Ryan McCall there. But you, Lehman, and Taub, you're not in the playoffs. Is there any talk about, maybe letting Hunter come up here and lead a lap or Lehman come up here and lead a lap just to help them get that extra point to go a little bit closer in those playoffs?
Honestly, no. I'm trying to dominate this race and win it myself.
No team tonight.
These guys are going to have to figure it out. But no, they know that I'm going to give them room if they get runs. I'm not going to mess with these guys.
All right. Well, good luck on the second stage. You got another 30 laps to lead. This car looks really loose as well as everybody else's. But like I said, it's extremely dominant stage 1. So congratulations on the stage 1 victory. And we'll send you back down to your teammates down there.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, Chad. So like you said, very loose from what you were viewing, and Cole definitely confirmed that. As we're going to go green again here as they're coming down the front stretch. I don't know who learned or who didn't learn, but a lot of moves were made within that first or second lap. Do you think this is when you need to make it? I mean, when we watch Indy on TV, it's the same as Pocono. Usually guys are, bobbing and weaving and trying to get as many positions as they can right off the restart because it seems like it's a track position kind of race.
Yeah, listen to that. Sounds like if you want to make a move and try to gain some positions, Cole Snyder just touches the wall coming out too. You have to do it in those first, couple laps, but how much abuse do you put those tires through the first couple of laps, is going to be key, because if you go and make too many moves, work your way up, that car is going to get loose quicker than the rest of the field, and you're going to lose those positions come the end of the run. So I think, what a lot of these guys are going to try to do this run, they've learned what they need to do. You might see them try to just sit and ride and try not to make too many moves, and try to maybe keep their tires under them longer before they have to start fighting that loose condition.
Well, as we said before about Hunter maybe jumping up here to lead a lap or Nate lead a lap, Hunter has come up and led his lap to get that point. I'm wondering how much Nate Lehman will push his teammate to try to get up here and grab a lap to get that extra bonus point as well. Taub really has kind of stayed back there around 4th or 5th. Byron Jones looking to the inside of Taub, trying to grab that extra position for him. You said before the end of the stage he was up here in 4th and slipped back to 6th and did not get that playoff point.
Yeah, he was up there, looked like he was running real good, and then tires must have fell off those last 2 laps, and it costed him 2 positions and knocked him out of getting any stage points. So hopefully Byron's learned from that, and judging by the way he's running right now, I don't know if he is really pushing it too hard, or maybe he's just getting a run and taking advantage of the run he gets. But these guys are definitely probably wanting to save these tires as long as they can before they have to start turning the steering wheel right coming out of these turns instead of left.
Yeah, I mean, we've got the pink all over the screen for Christine's Warriors tonight. All the playoff drivers are highlighted with that pink going across the ticker and on the tower. I've also got the pink numbers up there as well. But like I said, definitely don't want to take away from Bill Hell's on the orange ribbon as well. Both of those causes, we definitely want to put out the prayers. Definitely want to do something for them. So, but these guys, I mean, they've got pink schemes. They've got pink driver helmets, driver suits. I mean, there's pink rims. I mean, there's pink everywhere. We've got pink across the windshield for the banner for the playoff drivers. I mean, these guys have been repping pink all month. Next month when we come back for the championship race, because we will be taking a 2-week break after next week's race at Talladega. There will be a 2-week interval drop-off where I will be on vacation doing a family road trip. So we'll be coming back after that 2 weeks, and we will come back and do the championship race at Phoenix, I believe. Or no, Kansas, sorry. Kansas will be for the championship race there, and Chad, you and I have loved Kansas, so I'm kind of happy it's the championship instead of being Phoenix.
I mean, yeah, Kansas is it's a great racetrack if you love riding the wall, and that's where the speed is. And if you want to make moves at Kansas, you got to do that slide job. You got to drive it in
Slide
right on the
job.
guy's door, and just turn it down a little bit more and have a little bit more gas, and kind of let that car drift up into that high line and hope that you clear them. But yeah, Kansas is a great track. I love it. There's a lot of grip for a long time, at least in these cars, but eventually it does start to get loose. But I am glad that they chose Kansas to be that championship race.
Chad, how many drivers are popping up for you? I'm only seeing a handful of drivers here. It looks like we've got some dropouts. Let's see. Meredith, Jeff
Well,
Jones. Is Dohar
I
still in it? Yep.
s-
Mike
yeah, I
Campbell the
see
third
about
still in it. All right, so we got 15 on track.
yeah.
I was
There's
looking
like
for Mike Allen,
10.
Elridge George.
There's like 10 in a line right now behind the leader, and then there's a little bit of a gap back to Meredith. And then there's one really big gap. Looks like back to Papa Bear's son.
Yeah, so I'll pull up the track map so you guys can see what we're looking at here because there was a lot of gaps all over the place, and I was trying to figure out where everybody was. But looking at the lineup for tonight, we did have, I believe, about 18 show up. But I think Elridge and Mike Allen did not make the start of the race, so they were immediately out of the race. Papa Bear is on there as well, but he's race control. So we had 17 start the race, actually. But yeah, Hunter Peach and this Valvoline, I mean, he's looking dominant. He's looking like Kyle Larson out there on track. He's been very good this second stage ever since Cole kind of slipped. And I know I asked him, you're going to let your teammates jump up here and grab some points, and he immediately said, "Nah, I'm going for this myself." And then, we put him back in his chat, and about a half a lap later, he gave up the lead to Hunter Peach and Nate Lehman. So I don't know if it was on purpose or not. It looked like he did slip and touch the wall, but Hunter jumping out here and has led every lap since. And Shad, we've been watching, and it's hard to make passes after the first about 8 laps on these tires for some reason. Like, you see some big runs coming from guys with draft, but if you can't get to the outside with enough cars behind you, you just stall and you're stuck. And it feels like you lose more positions when you try that. You see Byron back there trying to make up time on Kyle Taub, but he's got nobody behind him to push him. And the way that it comes off of there, Kyle Taub just sneaks right back in front of him by taking the shorter way around the track.
Yeah, it's follow the leader right now, and it's hard to make a move on anybody because if you duck down below, you have no draft, and the guy you're trying to pass, he does have draft. So right now, it's really hard to make any passes. These guys are all pretty much running single file, and I see Byron getting a massive run, entering a little higher in the turns as he's ducking under Kyle Taub right now, going down the backstretch. He's been entering higher and then kind of carving it down through the center of the turn, and it gives him a great run off. It's just, can he make this pass? Because you definitely do not want to run too wide for too long because those front three will get away. As Byron almost touches Kyle Taub going through 4. Kyle didn't give him a whole lot of room there, trying to pinch him down. And as you see there, Byron now did not complete that pass, and Pacey Wygen on the outside with the draft is going to make a pass pretty easily on Byron Jones.
I think that's going to pull Ryan McCall too. The problem is when Byron gets to the inside of Kyle like that, on the straightaways, the cars behind him don't line up behind him. They line up on the outside car, which then obviously in the draft pushes that outside car back up to being either side by side or pushes you out in front of that inside car. Even though Byron worked and worked and worked to get that pass, he did it right. The guys behind him just did not go with him on the straightaways, and I think that's where he's been struggling, is he can't complete the pass if nobody's going to go with him and help him. And then he loses a couple positions. He fought back against Ryan McCall there because the 2 cars behind him, which one of them is his dad, did stay down below and help the draft past Ryan McCall to get back in front of him. Now he's got to restart and try to add on another pass, which is Pacey Wygen, who just got by him when he tried to make that pass on Kyle. It's so hard if nobody's working with each other. And I would have thought those guys being in the same chat down there would have been like, hey, I'm going low, come with me so we can get by Kyle.
Yeah, everything sounds good until the move is right there, and you're like, oh, I can go with the teammate, or I can pass my teammate. Sometimes the greed takes over, but Byron Jones, it just goes to show you right there. He tried to make a move, and it costed him a position, even though he looked to be faster than Kyle. As Pacey Wygen actually looks to be faster too. He's making a move going into turn 4, but the problem is on that low line, these cars are extremely loose. You cannot put the throttle down quick enough to really get a great run coming off these turns, and with no draft help, it's just who hits these turns better. As you see, Pacey
Pacey did it right, I think. Pacey didn't allow Kyle to pinch him down. He held him up on the middle lane so that Pacey had a little bit of extra room on the bottom to where he could make that runoff. So I think that was the smart move there. Kyle pinched Byron down on the bottom where Byron had to lift, which then stalls his pass. And then with nobody behind him, it doesn't help him down the straightaway. And Kyle's got the momentum, and he can just go right on by. So I think that was a textbook pass at Indy that we just saw from Pacey Wygen. I'm getting word from Papa Bear that we need to check out Pacey's car. So we're going to take a look at it here real quick, see if I can get a better view of it. Trying to look at the sides, gyro, hood. Oh, it's turned down for what? For some reason I don't have a good enough.
Somebody turned down for what?
Hang on, I'll fix this. I'll load my other camera pack real quick, and then I'll have a really good view of it. Bam. There we go. All right, so there's your view, Papa, that you wanted of the turn down for what? Sponsored car from Pacey Wygen with the black with the pink outlined 00. Looks really cool. So what's on the hood there? Chase for the cup as they play off driver. Pacey right on the cusp of going into the top 4. He's tied, I believe, with Zach Meredith and Byron Jones as we looked earlier at the standing. So tonight he is creeping up through here. He needs to make this pass on Kyle to gain 2 points rather than only 1 point as a playoff point. But Byron Jones right there with him, going to make the same move that Pacey did. We've got lap 44 being the end of stage 2, so we've still got 12 laps to go, Shad, in this stage. Byron and Pacey battling for the same point there. If they would just get together, they'd both go by Kyle Tom.
Yeah, Pacey right now is not happy with that 16 car. He had the pass made. The 24 slipped up in front of him, and the 24 actually slowed up the Pacey, allowed the 16 to dive him going into turn 3, and then the 24 stayed in front of the 16 to give him the draft and allowed the 16 just to get right by the 00 Pacey Wygen. Even though Pacey had the pass made, it just goes to show you how much that draft does help. And even though the 00 is faster than that 16, draft is key around here. And now he's going to have to work all over again as we see the 24 of Cole Snyder actually falling back. Looks like he might have burned up his tires a little too soon.
I think that little bit of wall tap that he did has made his car a little bit different to drive, too. It doesn't look like he's able to hold the bottom line at the speed he was able to do it earlier. So now he's on a little bit different of a pace, and I think he's slipping back with the draft. But that's what I was talking about, Shad, with Pacey and Byron, Ryan McCall, Jose Ruiz, Chris Murphy, Jeff Ludnam. If they could get together and try to work on some of these guys here, when they go to make a pass, nobody's going with each other. So it just stalls out, and then all of a sudden the guys behind just come flying by and you lose a bunch of positions. If they would just get in line, they would pick these guys off one at a time and go towards the front. But they are not working together for some reason.
Yeah, I think right now Pacey and Byron, if Byron is able to catch, Pacey, they need to double team Kyle Taub. That's the only way they're going to get the pass made. Their tires are probably equal now after, trying so many laps, both of them to pass the 16. Their tires are probably just as worn as his now. So the only way they're going to get by him is to double team, draft with each other down the straightaways as much as you can, and hope that you can get by them. But you know, we're gonna have a stage break here coming up soon, so
Yeah, we got about
um,
10 laps before that stage break.
yeah. And I know fuel is not an issue. These guys were saying during practice they can go like 36 laps, so fuel is definitely not an issue for these guys. It's just whether or not they can hold on to it and keep it under them, I guess, for that long. So,
Well, before we get
but
to that stage, Chad, I'm going to do a side-by-side. We'll take a little bit of a short break here and come back before the end of stage 2. And then I've got a couple questions for you as I've been thinking about something while we've been sitting here talking. But we'll take a short break, and we'll be right back and look at some of our videos before we come back for the end of stage. All right, Chad, we're back here at Indy with about 5 to go here when we come back into this for the stage here. There's only 37 to go for the race. This was only a 75-lap race. They've kind of, you know, the stages are kind of weird to me. I mean, a 14 lap to start the race for stage 1. Then you go to 44, which is 30 laps. It doesn't really allow you to get that knowledge that you need for the third stage. In my book, I mean, if you were looking at this race, how would you strategize for the third stage, knowing fuel's probably not going to be the issue? Tires might be the issue late in the run, but I would expect you to not want to take a pit stop because you lose too much time.
Well, I mean, I think these guys are kind of learning at the end of these runs what their car is going to do for a long run. You know, the cars are loose right now. It's not like they're going to get extremely much looser the longer the run goes. So, they know what their car is going to do on a 30 lap run. It's just whether or not this 30 lap run, is that the way to do it, to just not pit, or do you come down and maybe split it in half? And because right now, Hunter just run, he ran a 55.5. That's like
That's almost
3
3 seconds.
seconds off of what they qualified. So, does it make sense to come down, split it in half, and come down and run 15 and 15 or whatever it works out to be?
I mean, they just ran
I
40
don't know.
laps. This is their 40th lap on this run. They have not pitted. Nobody pitted at the end of the first stage.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, for some reason it's not telling me they did.
Yeah,
Okay,
everybody
so then
did.
this would be 30 laps straight on set of tires. This next stage would be
30 laps.
30 laps again. So, I mean, what would you do if you're sitting within the top 5? I'm assuming you don't make this move. If you're sitting from 5th on back, you're probably thinking about it to 10th. From 10th on back, I would think you would make that. You'd pull the trigger just to try to improve your position a little bit if you could.
I think if I'm, not in the top 5, I pit before the 2-lap flag comes out, and then make up my ground that way. Come out.
If you're
after
not,
everyone
yeah,
else,
if you're not looking for a stage point, so I get what you're saying there.
yeah. If you're out of the top 5 and you have no chance of getting a stage point, I pit before the pits get closed by Papa Bear,
Which
and
would
then
be, I think,
run out the
42.
race.
So that would be this lap.
Yeah, and I don't see anybody going down, so nobody picked up on that. But I don't know. I don't know. I haven't done the math. I don't have a calculator sitting here next to me whether or not if splitting the stage and running 53 to 54 second laps.
Actually,
is
no,
better
sorry, it's
than running
46 laps for this
55.5s and
stage. So pits will close lap 44. So they still have a lap or two to make that decision. I thought it was
Yeah,
lap 44 for the
That
stage.
means it'll be like a 30 lap run to finish the race. It doesn't make sense to do 15 and 15 or just run 30. I don't. Looking at it right off the bat, I don't think it's smart to try to break it in half. I don't think you'll make that up.
Even
for
saving
me-
fuel on the caution laps during this third stage too.
And I see one car going down. Look like the 81 of
Was that John Osborne?
yeah, the 81 of Osborne's going down pit road. So he's thinking about that strategy of, hey, I'm not going to get stage points, but I can flip the field and get.
But he's also
position.
not a playoff driver, so he's out here just trophy hunting for this thing.
Yeah. And actually, Byron Jones just asked what lap they close on pit road, so maybe he's thinking about coming down.
He's got to hit
and
pit road
getting that
before the
track
leader hits the
position.
finish line, though. If he's going to do it, this is going to be close. If he's going to be able to do it, I'm going to zoom out a little bit.
2.8. I think he might make it.
It'll be close. I'm going to try to. I'm going from the. See if I can find the flag, man. Yeah, so starter cam. So I will hit on the starter cam here, and we'll
He
see.
didn't go down.
Okay, so he didn't go. Nobody else is going to be able to make it to the finish line. There's the finish line that they're crossing. Nobody else is going to be able to go down pit road. So this might be John Osborne's flip right here that you were talking about. I would say that's probably the best idea to try to make up positions. I'm just surprised. I mean, even like Jose Ruiz, Ryan McCall, Zach Meredith, Chris Murphy, Tyler Dohar, any one of those playoff drivers, I would have expected to maybe try that.
Yeah, I mean, if you weren't going to get stage points, why not come down and have like 1-2 laps older tires and, see if that track position, maybe get that clean air. Osborne might start, he's going to start in the front. So he'll have that fresh air. We've heard Cole Snyder say the fresh air is key. Hunter Peach, once he took the fresh air, he hasn't given it back. And, is that a race winning move? Because I do not think splitting the stage is going to get you a win. I don't think the math adds up to where in 15 laps, you can make up like 45 seconds. So, I mean, I don't know. I think Osborne's going to be sitting good. It's just how much will 1 to 2 laps older tires make a difference?
I mean, this is the lap here for the stage 2. And right now it looks like Hunter Peach is going to win that stage, Chad. That's some pretty big points there. Nate Lehman's going to sit second. Pacey's actually moved up to
No.
third.
Pacey got by.
Did Pacey get by him?
Yeah, he's up to second.
All right. We'll watch
And
as they come
Pacey
through
has-
here.
Pacey has cut that gap down even to Hunter Peach. So Hunter's going to come away with that stage win, but Pacey making giant strides. Going to finish the stage second with Lehman fourth, Lehman third, Kyle Taub fourth, and then Byron Jones getting that one stage point in fifth place.
Yeah, so really that's just going to flop Pacey in and Byron out for the playoffs because of those 2-point differences right there. With neither one of them getting playoff points or stage points in the beginning here for stage 1. Stage 2, Pacey's going to wind up getting 3 and Byron's going to get 1. So that's the 2 points right there that's going to move Pacey out in front of Byron because they were even at 0 at the start of this race. So that's, 1 point, that's all that matters. They just need to keep gaining those points because, like you said, Talladega is next week's race, and that race, anything could happen to any one of these playoff drivers. So if you're not locked in, you better point your way as much as you possibly can tonight, which, Hunter's done it. Nate Lehman's done it. Kyle's obviously already locked in. Byron got the 1 point. Pacey got 4 points, actually. So, sorry, he's actually going to be 3 points to the good of Byron. But, yeah, I think this was the race. Like you said, this is the race you need to gain as many points you possibly can before we get to Talladega because first lap you could be taken out in a big one.
Yeah, so right now, Hunter's gained 9 points to Pacey's 4. So Hunter's came away with 5 so far on the stage points, and he's gained 8 on Byron Jones. So, he's cut it down to, 8 points. So yeah, he's down to 8 points right now
He was 16 down.
So he's down to 7 points right now on Byron Jones.
Yeah,
as they run right now.
Murphy didn't get any points. Ryan McCall got the 1 point in stage 1. Meredith did not get any points in stage 1. Pacey did not get any points in stage 1. Byron did not get any stage points. Dohar's actually going to slip out. I'm sorry. I said Byron would be the one that's out. With him getting that point there, he might be tied with Dohar, actually. And Pacey would jump to 3rd. Jose Ruiz needs to get some good points tonight as well. He's only 4 points above these guys who are tied for 4th, 5th, and 6th. And with
which makes makes Pacey tied right now with Jose for 2nd place. Byron now moves up to 3rd and tied with Dohar, actually. So Dohar and Byron are both tied for 3rd and 4th, and then I don't know.
No, it's 4th and 5th.
Yeah, for 4th,
and then
they're tied.
Meredith right there, only 1 or 2 points back. Murphy has not gained any points. McCall has gained 1 point, so he'd be tied with Murphy. Lehman has gained, 3 and 3? So he's gained 6. So he's going to be in front of Murphy and McCall. Hunter has gained 4 and 5, so he's gained 9. So he's going to be... What does that math add up to? 7. So there's going to be like a 4-way battle, 5-way battle, really, from 4th all the way down. They're within 8 points of each other. That's insane.
Yeah, it's going to go down to Talladega with just 4 or 5 guys with the opportunity.
Who gets lucky
they
there?
don't get ripped out. So it might be like 6 guys have a chance to make the playoffs going into Talladega. So it's going to be crazy. I know it's not a situation I'd want to be sitting in, and I thought Osborne was going to stay out, but he actually went to the pits. So that strategy of pitting early didn't do anything. So Hunter's still going to keep the lead. Pacey actually dropped back 2 spots on that pit stop. I'm not sure what happened there, but I'm sure he's not happy about his pit crew. So yeah,
Get a 14.1, so not a bad one.
Yeah. Must have been worse than Kyle and Nathan Lehman because they both jumped him. So.
And Nathan was a 14.0. Kyle was a 14.1 as well. I'm going to grab Hunter real quick. Stage 2 winner. Mr. Hunter Peach, you got a copy of this is Swats and Shadlack up in the booth.
Yes, sir.
All right, dude, you rocking and rolling that 5 car. I don't know if maybe I know you usually tell me you never practice or nothing like that, but did you put some laps in, or did you learn something watching Cole, or is Indy, a track you've run before? You looked pretty good there in the second stage.
Never really ran it here, but I was hoping to kind of feel like an Xfinity car, but that's not the case. It's definitely tight for sure, and tires are the big issue in the right rear. Restarts are kind of chaotic, so I don't know how I really feel about those. I honestly just seeing how it goes, basically. Just trying to do what I did at Charlotte.
Shad, you got anything for Hunter there?
Oh yeah, sorry, baby, over here throwing a fit at me. Yeah, I mean, great stage 1, coming home second. Stage 2, you bring it home. You've made up, I think it's like 8 points. So you're like 8 points right now back of the top 4. What's your plans of this one? This final stage. You gonna try to just do it once, not pitting, or you gonna maybe try to break it up?
Go all the way and win the race. Simple as that.
All right,
Man,
Hunter.
a few words.
Yeah, I know he doesn't want to give away his strategy.
Yeah.
He
I tried.
keeps it close to the vest, so. But Hunter, I'll send you back down to your teammates. Good luck in this final stage. Looking for maybe you to close out this playoff run with getting yourself into the championship here. You won the very first race of the season, so good luck, and we'll talk to you later.
Yep, you have a good one.
Yeah, he ain't gonna give you much. No, he
I
does
tried
not.
to see if it'd slip.
Yeah, he does not give away much when it comes to what he's planning on doing strategy-wise. So him and Kyle, I can't ever get much out of them.
I was actually sitting here thinking, if Hunter Peach comes away with the win here, that knocks everybody
Back down.
including Ruiz down.
Yeah.
So now there's only 2 spots open.
Well, even
and
Lehman.
there's going to be like 6 guys battling for 2 spots.
Yeah,
going
Lehman's
into
there.
Talladega.
Hunter's there. Both of them were, at the bottom of the barrel for the standings, and they are putting themselves in position to maybe crack the top 4 with a win and lock themselves in, and then there's only going to be 2 positions open. You might have a guy who, finished in the top 4 or started in the top 4 here in the playoffs and is going to wind up being cut out because there is not enough room for everybody that is trying to get into this top 4. 6 guys will battle out for that final position for the points if a non-playoff driver does not win tonight.
Yeah, and as you saw there, on that restart, Lehman, he hung with Peach through 1 and 2, got the push from Kyle Taub down the backstretch, and that prevailed him to the front. And as we know from what the drivers are telling us, that clean air is huge. But my thing right now is the 00. He's proven to be one of the fastest guys on the long run. He was faster than Kyle Taub, faster than Nathan Lehman. The only person I'm not sure was Hunter Peach, but looking at the times, at the end of that run, he was gaining. And right now he's sitting 4th. So, he doesn't have to battle too much. He can sit right here, keep these guys in front of him and just save tires. And, is he the guy that maybe when this thing comes down to the end of the race, can he make the moves to lock himself in? I don't know, Kurt, but, Byron Jones right there, he's sitting behind his teammate too. Either one of them going to have something to say with this front 3.
Yeah, I know, Nate Lehman, you talked about at the beginning of the race. This is one of his best tracks that you've seen him run on. Hunter Peach looked really good. Cole looked really good, but Cole has slipped all the way to 12th. Kyle Taub sitting there in 3rd. He's trying to make the move on Hunter, but Hunter's fighting back. Pacey's looking really good coming through the field. He's up 6 positions tonight. Byron Jones up 2 positions. If those 2 would actually work together like the other guys are, I mean, Lehman, Peach, Taub, Meredith, Cole, those guys are all friends. They're going to work together. They're not going to give up positions to Pacey and Byron and some of these other drivers in the field. So you've got to work together on a track like this where you've got to have that little bit of draft to help you past the driver in front of you. So you need to pick them off one at a time, even if not, you might be able to get 2 if you can, with everybody being so close right now. But I mean, if Byron and Pacey could get a run on Kyle right now and even go to the outside of him, if Byron pushes Pacey past Taub, that breaks it up. And then Byron can either follow through if he can. Meredith will probably go with Taub, so it'll probably stall out there, but at least Pacey will go by and they'll be working together. But I think Meredith, he's kind of a shocker to be up here since he crashed out earlier with Dohar, but I don't think he got that much damage, and we don't have fast repair, so he seems to be hanging on here. I just don't know what his car would be like if it was in the open air out front, but Hunter Peach is not going to give it to Nate Lehman. I don't know if he just said, you know what, you got your lap led, you got your bonus point, I'm going back to the front.
Yeah, these guys, even though they are teammates, they both are sitting at the bottom of the table when it comes to this chase. They both pretty much need a win to get into that final race. You know, Hunter Peach started the night 16 points back. Lehman started the night 12 points back. So, you know, even if they won, you know, both stages, they would still need a solid finish to get up into that top four. And do you want to rely on just points when it goes to Talladega? No, you definitely don't. So
well,
I think
we've seen how dominant those guys are at super speedways, though. That whole group of militia members or CCR, CDR, whatever you want to call those guys, that whole group has won every single super speedway race that we've done and turned down for what besides 2. If you look at the statistics for every super speedway that Nate Lehman has broken down for every single race, every single season, there is only 2 races at a super speedway track that a member of the militia has not won. And one of them was Atlanta Super Speedway, which it's not really a textbook super speedway, but it's classified as a super speedway now. But that was Dohar that won that race. Daytona, Peach, your leader tonight, won the Daytona race for super speedway. Cole Snyder has won a bunch of them. Nate Lehman is the only one that has not won a super speedway, though. Actually, sorry, Kyle Taub has not won a super speedway either.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't think any of these guys want to rely on Talladega to get in. So I think these front 2, you know, even though they are teammates, they're going to want to try to win this race. You know, they're both in really good position. And when it comes to locking yourself into that final race, the whole teammate thing goes out the window. I mean, yeah, you don't want to wreck them, but you also don't want to sit there and play too nice and give away your opportunity of locking yourself in. So I see nothing but battling between these two. Obviously, right now, being that there's still plenty of laps, that right now they might be playing friendly. But as we get down closer to the end of this race, those gloves are going to come off, and we're going to really start to see some fighting. But the car I'm interested to see who just got by Kyle Taub is that 2 car Byron Jones, another guy, you know, right on the fringe. He does not want to rely on points. And he doesn't want these 2 just to sit up there and run around and wait and battle between just them. He wants to get up there and break this group up. And so far, he's done it with 1. Now he just needs to get 2 more and see if he can lock himself into that final 4.
Yeah, I mean, Byron, he's been so close in so many races to get that win. I mean, he's pulled off a string of second-place finishes that is ridiculous this season, and for him not to have a win is kind of crazy with the amount of second places, third places that he's gotten. I mean, he's got to be so close on getting that first win. Could he do it tonight and lock himself into the playoffs? It is a strong possibility with the way he's been running. I mean, now he's sitting 3rd. He's the highest guy that's not been up here at the front so far. Pacey's kind of slipped back. He's trying to battle on Zach Meredith right now. But, Byron's up here trying to play spoiler to Hunter Peach and Nate Lehman, who have sat down at the bottom of the standings and are needing that win to get in, or at least a really, really good points night to get themselves close for Talladega. But if Byron could sneak up here and grab that win, he is in the top 4 right now as of the point standings before the race, tied for 4th and 5th. But if he could grab that win, you know that kid's going to come in here and be super excited, not only to get his first win, but to lock himself into that playoff and not have to go to Talladega and worry about it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, Byron, you know, he's definitely shown the improvement. I mean, the last couple seasons, you know, like Pete said, he was kind of a guy that would run mid-pack, you know, maybe get into the top 10. And this season, he has brought the A game. Now, it could be the fact that he's finally off of a laptop and got some better equipment. So that could be the reason why, but I think his improvement and just getting more familiar with these cars and with the guys that he's racing, he's improved. And right now he's fighting Nathan Lehman, a guy who has won a ton of races and turned down for what. He is fighting with him to take over second, but Kyle Taub is helping his teammate and pushing him right back by, and now Byron Jones has to start all over again and try to get by the 16 once again.
I mean, that's what I was saying is before is Byron Pacey, Dohar, Jose Ruiz, Chris Murphy, Jeff Lednam, they're all in a chat together. I just, Lehman, Taub, Peach, Meredith, Cole, they're all in a chat together as well. So you've got 5 guys or 6 guys who are in a chat. Then you've got another 6 guys that are in a chat. They need to work together just like those 5 or 6 that are up here in the front now leading first, second, and third to be able to prevail tonight. If they don't, I just feel like Hunter's going to run away from everybody as he's already getting separation. He's out to over a half-second lead over Nate Lehman. But you can see, I mean, Kyle Taub helped his teammate, or got help from his teammate, and went right back by Byron. And Pacey's now going underneath Byron. You said about Pacey where he comes on late in the run. Has he been sitting back there, saving his tires? He gets a little loose and he stays in front of Byron Jones. That was a big move, a big slide there. Meredith now going to look underneath Byron. We'll see if he can hold it. Looks like he's going to slide right back up behind him. But it's odd to me that those guys who were in a chat, I know they're battling for positions, but, I mean, you would think that they would be seeing the front 3 work together. Why not link up and work together as well? It's just surprising to me. Now Jose Ruiz, who we have not mentioned all night, he's moved up into this top 10. He's sitting 7th right now in this kind of odd colored car back here in the 45. I wasn't even sure who that was until I saw the name sitting there. But Jose Ruiz was battling for a championship last night in Shake and Bake, came up just short, finished 4th in the championship run, looking to get into another championship run here. I think guys that are saving tires, it's just not working. I mean, we got 15 laps to go. Nobody's going to wind up pitting. It's all going to be on old tires. Right now, you need to find a buddy and you need to link up to get past everybody one by one if you have to. And I just don't see anybody else doing that besides the CCR guys.
Yeah, I think Byron, I don't know. I don't know why those guys aren't communicating like, hey, man, I'm going to go low. Go with me. We'll work together and get by these guys. Instead, they're kind of fighting each other. And I understand they're all fighting for that playoff spot, but it will benefit the both of them if they would just work together to get by these guys, because they've shown to be faster. Maybe not on the short run or during the middle, but on the long run, Pacey has proven to be the fastest car. And I don't know why. I don't understand that. I feel like as a team owner, you need to go down there and tell your drivers to start working together.
Well, Byron is not on my team, but if Pete was here, I would send him down there, or I would go talk to Pacey. But I don't know. I'm kind of baffled a little bit. I mean, we've seen certain groups work together almost all season, and the group that's down there in my channel right now, those guys have kind of like went and talked to each other and was like, hey, we need to join forces, and it seemed to be working as Pacey started pulling off a win. Dohar got a bunch of wins. Byron's been up here in the top 3 almost every race for the past 6 or 7 weeks since they all joined forces, and tonight it just doesn't look like they're communicating at all. It looks like they all said, you know what, one for all, or one for one. I'm not doing the musketeer thing anymore tonight, and tonight would have been the night to do it as far as a playoff driver, because you don't want Hunter, who's sitting, I mean, if we pull up the standings again, I believe he's sitting last in the points. He is. If he comes up here and steals a win, he just went from last to second, locked in. Automatically going to the championship. Does not have to worry about next week. If Lehman steals the win, he just went from second to last and jumps up in the top 4 and locks himself in. Hunter's had a great point night, so he moves himself a little closer, or vice versa with Nate. He's had a great points night as well. But, Pacey and Byron are both sitting there right on the edge of the cusp of the line, with Dohar having a bad night, Jose Ruiz not getting any stage points, and currently he's sitting 6th. He's getting closer and closer to the front line. Now they've got 3 drivers in that channel lined up. Byron, Pacey, and Jose and Chris Murphy, 4 drivers now lined up. Those 4 need to work together. I can't stress that enough. If any one of you are listening to this broadcast, which you should be, you need to work together to get past those 3 in front of you. It's not going to happen one on 3. It's got to be another guy with you to get one by one as you go through these final 12 laps. I saw Alpha out there in the chat earlier saying these guys need to realize you need to set that thing up in the first turn when you go into it to have the run off of 2 to get that big run to go into the next turn, and none of them are using it the right way with the draft of the person behind them, or the person behind them is not using it for the guy in front of them. They're just kind of going on their own trying to make the pass as well, and then they stall out and they're stuck behind the same guy they both tried to pass.
Yeah, I mean, we're coming down to 10 to go, and, Lehman took the lead back from Hunter Peach. And, Pacey, I think he's faster than those front 3 in front of him. He just cannot get by the 16 with him having the
16
draft
is like
of the
Ryan
cars in
Newman
front
right
of him.
now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's got it parked in the preferred groove. And, Pacey, with no drafting help, cannot get by. And the problem is Byron's not close enough to help him. And then Jose Ruiz, he's not close enough to help Byron to even get up there. So right now it's pretty much 1 on 3. And I don't know. It depends, I guess, in these next 10 laps, how good did, Pacey save those tires where maybe he can get a better run off. But the problem is that draft is just, I mean, it plays king here. And right now Pacey just has no help.
I mean, you can see him. He peaks or he goes to the outside and it just stalls. Side-by-side just stalls these cars so much. When we see it at Charlotte, we see it at Atlanta, side-by-side racing just does not work in the next gens. You have to have help. The little bit of side draft you can get on some of the straightaways, it does help you a little bit, but with nothing behind you, if the car on the outside has drafting partners in front of them and you have nobody behind you on the inside, it's just going to pull that outside car right back by you, or vice versa. If you're on the outside line and the guy's in front of the guy you're trying to pass who's on the inside line, go to the inside line as well. It just pulls that inside car right back by you, and you just stall out over and over and over, and you lose so much momentum and speed doing that the cars behind you then close in on you and then go for a pass on you, and you're stuck battling that guy, or you automatically just lose the position. But look at these 2 up front, Chad. Nate Lehman going all the way to the inside wall. Hunter Peach trying to find a way back by the 14. He's led all the laps from stage 2 to about this point, of other than a handful of laps to Nate Lehman here, and he is trying to get to him. Kyle Taub now on the back bumper. You see Hunter Peach getting loose. Hunter Taub going to go right by him. That's going to move Hunter Peach back to 3rd. Pacey now trying to get to the outside, but does not because of the draft from the 16. Now he dives to the inside. Is he going to be able to make the move, or is Hunter going to have the draft from the 16 and go right back by him?
Yeah, that's unfortunate for Pacey. He had the momentum, but he just could not get there in time before Hunter Peach filled that gap. And I'm sure these front 2 are gonna, stay up in that high line and let him get the draft. And Pacey's gonna have to work extremely hard to try to pull his pass off. And I just don't think he's gonna be able to do it, as Hunter's slowly pulling him on the straightaway.
I mean, that's got to be frustrating. But at the same time, that's why I keep saying I almost say they need to be frustrated at each other because they're not helping each other. But Jose's back here. I thought maybe he would try to push Byron back up to this front 4. He's closing in a little bit, but Jose got Byron really loose coming off of turn 2 there. I thought maybe Byron was going to go around, but Jose backed off of him just enough to where Byron was able to get it back under him and keep going. He actually gained a little bit of time on them, but now he's slipping back again. And Pacey's just, I mean, he's wheeling this car, trying to do everything possible to get to the 16 and pass him. And unless Byron and Ruiz can get up here, I don't see him going past. Oh, now it's the 5. Taub is trying to close in on the 14. It'd be insane to think Taub comes up here and steals this win away from the 14 after already being locked in. We talked to him last week, and he said he was not really going to, help per se to teammates. He wouldn't battle them that hard, but he was going out here for wins. He wanted to keep on a roll, win as much as he could, and keep that confidence up.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it depends on how friendly you are with your teammates. Because right now, with coming to 6 laps to go, his teammate's sitting in a perfect position. He's, got over a second to the 5 and a second and a half to Pacey. And Kyle's already locked himself in. He can let his teammate get this win and lock himself in. But it's just, I guess, how much do you love your teammate to where you'll give him the win
Now, would
and
you
not
do it?
fight him for it? If I was already locked in,
Yeah. Would you do it?
yeah, I would let my teammate win it.
Come on. You can say that now, but I see you on the driver's seat, and you're like, I didn't even think about it.
Well, the thing about it is this win does nothing. It doesn't help you for the next round. It doesn't do anything for the next round. It's just bragging rights.
If you're Kyle Taub.
Yeah, but what it does do is if when you and your teammates are really good buddies, it allows you to let one of your buddies get into the playoffs with you and allows you to maybe have all 4 of your buddies in there and all 4 of you are running for a championship. So, but as I say that, Hunter, he has ran back down the front too, and Pacey has kind of fallen off. So, is Pacey's tires gone? And another person that's moving up slowly is that 45 of Ruiz. He did get around the 2 of Byron Jones, but with 5 laps to go, does he have enough time to get up there, being 2.1 seconds back?
Yeah, I mean, if a late race caution does come out, Shad, what do you do here? If it's now within 5 laps, we got 5 laps to go in this turn down for what playoff chase race number 2, 1 race to go before we go to the championship. What would you do if a caution did come out right now with 5 laps to go, Shad? Would you pit? Would you stay out? Would you maybe fake like you were going to come out or come in and stay out if you're not in the top 5? How far would you have to go down the line before you would just go down pit road?
Oh, if there's 2 laps to go, I'm coming down. These tires are absolutely, burning. And, these guys are running 55 twos, 55 threes. You come in, put on a brand new set of tires, you're going to run 52 to a 53 flat. So, yeah, you could go from 10th to 1st on old tires if, nobody else in front of you pitted. So, yeah, if the caution comes out, I'm taking tires.
So you have no thought if you're further back in the field to stay out and just block your butt off to try to win this thing?
I just don't think you'd be able to, with the amount of speed that everyone else would be able to carry, through these turns. I don't think you'd be able to block them. It would just come on too fast. I mean, you might be able to block them, but you're probably going to get wrecked in doing it. So, as I said, that Hunter Peach has gotten by Kyle Taub, and I think Kyle has said, hey, you guys go fight it out between you. I already got my win. And at least that's what it looks like to me. He kind of played it safe with Hunter letting him go. And I think he's leaving it up between the 5 and the 14 to see who can lock themselves in.
I mean, the way that Hunter's running Nate down, I mean, he just ran 2/10 faster than Nate. We've got 3 laps to go. He's closing in on the back bumper. Hunter and Nate, like I said, they are last and second to last in the playoff points right now. With Talladega next week, Shad, would you give, a non-teammate a bump, or would you give a teammate a bump to take this win before you go to Talladega next week?
What did Tony Stewart say? I'd wreck my grandmother for a win. So, yeah, if this is the win to lock me into the Final Four, sorry, teammate. I'm going to give you a little bit of a bump. I'm not going to try to wreck you, but I might drive it in a little deep and push you up out of the groove.
Well, we got 2 to go. We'll see if Hunter Peach can pull off this pass or if he gives him a bump. Nate Lehman obviously going to try to do everything he can to stay out in front of his teammate here to try to get his win to lock himself in. Like I said, Hunter's had a great point night. He's got the stage win. He had second place in the first stage, and now if he finishes second again, I mean, that's still a huge point night to jump him, closer to the top 4. Jose Ruiz has rebounded back to 5th. Byron Jones is 6th. Pacey's 4th. Ryan McCall is sitting 8th. Tyler Dohar 7th. Meredith 9th. Chris Murphy 10th. So pretty much all of the top 10 is loaded with playoff drivers is you see that pink going across the street, and only Pacey Wygent there doesn't have pink, but he is actually a playoff driver. It just won't let me turn his number pink. So all 10 of the top 10 are playoff drivers, Chad. So every single point is going to matter in this race as we cross that line one more time for final lap around Indy.
Yeah, Hunter Peach was real close and overdrove turn 4 and allowed Nate to get that lead back up. Can Hunter Peach get it closed back down? As Lehman gets loose, he is going to close it in a little bit. What does Peach do coming down into turn 3? He's going to be right there on the bumper.
Do you do it in turn 3 or do you do it in turn 4?
3. Nope, he didn't do it, so maybe he's playing night. He might
I think
try
he
to
gets
do
him
it
in 4.
Oh, he's getting
He's
loose.
wiggling. Oh, he tags the wall. Yeah, that's going to give it to Nate Lehman for the win. I mean, Nate and Hunter, they definitely put on a show tonight trying to get this victory. And Nate Lehman is going to go from last in the playoff points to second place, locked in now as a victor. That is insane, Chad. That moves everybody down one peg on that standing, and that gives only 2 drivers left to get into the championship. One could be a winner next week. One will have to be a point. If a non-playoff driver wins next week, you will have 2 open slots for points. It is going to get insane as we get down to the end here.
Yeah, I wish I could do the math real quick so we could figure it out, but yeah, this is going to lock 2 guys in, only 2 spots left with 1 race to go. And, you know, Lehman was second to last in the points, went from 12 back to now locked in. You know, so can someone else, you know, maybe next week who's way back lock themselves in? A guy like Chris Murphy, you know, can he come out with a win in Talladega and lock himself in? But yeah, I mean, I mentioned Lehman winning this race before we went live, and he didn't prove me wrong. So a great run by him. I don't believe he had the best car, but he definitely had a good enough car to get the job done. And you know, congrats to him for locking himself into that final 4.
All right, well, that is Nate Lehman. We're going to go to the winning burnout break, and we'll come right back as we're going to watch Nate Lehman burn him down on the bricks. All right, everybody, welcome back to KS Game of 51's Broadcasting Burnout Lane. Top three are coming up into the booth. Winner tonight, Nate Lehman, jumps from second to last in the points, Nate, and you jump to second in the points, being locked in for the final race at Kansas, not having to go to Talladega and worry about a single thing other than just taking the week off, essentially, and riding around or helping a teammate or whatever you want to do for that race. You do not have to worry about points. Don't have to worry about anything other than just finishing, I guess. But I did mention before, too, you going to Talladega, I think you're the only, other than Todd, maybe, militia member that has not won at a super speedway. All the other super speedways have been locked up by a militia member, whether it was J-Paw before or Enrique, Hunter early in the season, Meredith, Cole Snyder. They've all won at super speedways, and I think you two were the only ones not. But you two are locked in and don't have to worry about it now. So how did you come away with this win? Shad said it was one of your favorite tracks, or he thought it was one of your favorite tracks because you were really good in the Xfinity cars here. What is it about Indy, and how did you pull this off?
Well, I love any flat track that we go to. Indy, New Hampshire, Milwaukee, kind of those vibes. Something about being able to know when to let off and just kind of roll the corner, not get back to the gas too soon. Something about these flat tracks that I really enjoy. So, no, I was sweating. I was nervous. Peach was really good. Kyle was really good. He was up there. Byron made a couple runs on me that I thought I wasn't going to be able to hold off. I honestly can't believe it. I knew we were going to be pretty good at Indy. I didn't know we were going to be race winning good. So happy we were able to pull that off and not have to sweat Talladega next week.
Well, you definitely did that. You and Hunter battling it out there for the win. It looked like Kyle was just kind of sitting back, watching you two battle it out. He kind of looked at it and maybe said, you know, I'm locked in. I'm going to let you guys go battle this out. But, I mean, you guys went back and forth. You passed him. He passed you. You passed him. It just was going back and forth. You know, I was asking you there on the break, you know, or I was asking Hunter on the break if he'd, you know, maybe sent it in a little bit on you and moved you up the track a little bit, and he said no. Were you worried at all?
You know, I was a little worried just because I know what was at stake. He said he wasn't going to wreck me or anything for that. That doesn't mean he was going to put the bumper to me, though. So I was still kind of
moving you up the track is not necessarily wrecking you. So
exactly. But, man, I just go back to when we raced each other at Xfinity. We were duking it out in those final laps, and he got me there at that race. And that one has been haunting me for a little bit. You know, I was coming on fresh tires, and I probably should have got around him, but nevertheless, it was a great battle between the two of us. And then to have another one here today in these next-gen cars, it's just really special. So glad that it was him that we were battling it out there at the end. And just fun. Just a great race overall.
All right, so I'm going to flip it on you here. And I know you didn't do it last time, but you said knowing the stakes, you were worried. If you had been behind Hunter coming into those final two turns, you can be honest and don't give me that BS. No, I wouldn't have done it to a teammate. What would you have done?
No, I'll be honest with you, Kurt. If I had been within about a car length to half a car length, I might have gone a little bit deeper into the corner just to try to get to his bumper. Obviously, I'm not going to do anything that is going to wreck both of us out, since we're, you know, both like second to last and last in the points. But if I was half a car length or one car length to him, I probably would have gave him the bumper just a little bit and tried to move him up the racetrack a smidge.
See, Hunter, that's why you give a teammate the bumper, because if roles reversed, the teammate would give you the bumper. I mean, Shad and I were sitting here joking about it, and I mean, I've always said it, but I didn't realize that Tony Stewart must have said it, but I've always said I'd wreck my grandmother for a win, so I even asked Shad, you know, if it's a teammate, would you do it? And he said if it was the stakes that they're in between the two of them, being second to last and last in the points, needing that win, not having to worry about Talladega at all, and going to the championship race in Kansas, he's like, I'd apologize to the teammate as I sent it in and said sorry, and went on right on by. So I think most of us would probably give the bumper, even though we'd probably lie and say we won. But you definitely looked good. I mean, your whole group looked really good. Cole got the pole. Again, want to give a big shout out to Cole for donating to Christine's Warriors the winning $5 iRacing reward points for tonight. He donated those straight to Christine's Warriors, so definitely really want to appreciate his pole donation straight to him. But I mean, 1, 2, 3 for you guys. Meredith was right there in the top 10 or top 7, whatever it was. So I mean, there's a bunch of you that were here, but I mean, you three definitely led the way from about the second stage on. You guys were kind of floating around there in the first stage with Cole being really dominant in the first stage. What did you find in that second stage or in the first stage to take a little bit more of an aggressive run through the second stage and then set yourself up for the third stage?
Well, honestly, it was track position right from the get-go, and I mean, Cole could tell you as soon as he fell out of the lead, car was just way too loose back there in traffic. Easy to burn up the right rear tire and just not make up any ground. So, charging to the front and trying to get that track position for the final stage was kind of my approach there. I knew we had to score stage points just in case we couldn't pull off the win. But setting yourself up in position to be able to take care of that or take advantage of that clean air on the nose and being able to manage your tires from the front and kind of dictate, who got the dirty air behind you was really huge there at the end. So that was kind of my approach. Get out front and manage the air behind me.
Well, definitely huge congratulations. You definitely managed it. Definitely ran a great race. You, like I said, you kind of shuffled and just threw a big giant wrench into the playoffs here for the championship race, going from second last in the standings to now jumping up and locking yourself in. Hunter having a great point night as well. Moves himself up closer to the cut line. I know you do the points every week, but this cut line is going to be super close with Jose Ruiz finishing, I think, 6th or 4th or whatever he was finishing. And then Dohar not having a great night, but rebounds, I think, to 6th or 7th. But none of those guys got playoff or stage points, and you guys got all the stage points down there at the bottom of the standings. So it's going to move you guys a lot closer as a group to a bunch being within, I would say, about 5 points or 6 points of each other for that cut line. It was already tied 3 ways from 4th, 5th, and 6th before we started this race. So it's going to get close, and I know you're probably sitting here going, whew, I don't have to worry about Talladega to even lock myself in. I can just sit back and help a teammate.
Oh, absolutely. And we've got such a good group of guys in this playoffs that it's tight. Every race we go to, Dohar, Murphy, Jose, Byron, all of them are just super competitors. And it would not shock me if next week you see one of the wildest Talladega races that Turn Down for What has put on.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that race to see who does what and who maybe prevails in the stages and at the end of the night. But it's going to be a wild one. So you heard it from a driver and you heard it from a broadcaster. Definitely tune in to next week's race at Talladega. It's going to be insane. But Nate, congratulations on the win again. Any last minute shout outs for you?
Oh, I got to do it. Shout out to my smoking hot wife for letting me do this every Tuesday night. She's always giving me a little bit of extra time to come down here and race with the guys, so I appreciate that. Shout out to obviously the guys that raced me clean tonight, which was everybody honestly that got near me. Byron, Pacey, obviously Kyle, Cole, Peach. So and then shout out to you guys for putting this on. We wouldn't be able to go back and watch these without you guys.
Well, I definitely agree with the smoking hot wife thing. I gotta always give a shout out to mine as well. So I think we all need to give shout outs to our significant others that allow us to do what we're doing, and having that hobby or fun, and it's definitely a perk when you have a significant other that will allow you to do it or be okay with you doing it. Maybe not allow you to. Well, some of us might be allowed, but yeah, it's definitely a perk. So. Anyways, like I said, congratulations, and we'll see what happens next week.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, Hunter, we're bringing you up for second place finish tonight. I know I just talked to Nate, and obviously you had told us during the break that you would not give the bump to Nate, and you didn't practice it at all. But then you heard Nate now say that he would have given you a bump. Would you have maybe redone your thinking on that before if you'd have known Nate would have given you the bump?
No,
Oh, come on. I wanted you to say I'd just slam into him.
The reason why is back to the Xfinity race when we were duking it out. He had every shot. He could just drove it in there and move me. He never did.
Well, you said he would have this time.
I know, but I kind of stole that one from him. So I mean, it kind of came back to haunt me in the long run.
Well, you had a very dominant car in the second stage. Cole slipped up in the or the start of the second stage and kind of tagged the wall, and it just slipped him back through the field. You took over from there. Were very, very dominant in the second stage. We talked to you at the end of the second stage. Actually, Hunter, your mic is echoing, or my voice is coming through it twice. But yeah, I mean, you were super dominant there in the second stage. You won the second stage, which gives you some big bonus points towards climbing up through here. You were last at the start of this race in the playoff standings. I want to say you got 4 points in the first stage, 5 in the second stage, and then you're going to get big points for finishing second again. So that's going to definitely move you a lot closer to the cut line. Nobody else that was below the cut line got stage points in the first stage. Second stage, Pacey and Byron were able to get 1 and 4, but actually, so that means you finished third in the second stage or the first stage. But it's definitely a close call on the points. You won Daytona, which is a super speedway. What are you looking at for Talladega next week?
Honestly, I don't even know. We go in there and just wing it, I guess. I don't know if it'd be safer to sit in the back and just let people do what they want to do, or we just run up front, just go for stages and then ride. But no, it's.
I mean, stage points are going to play a factor in this. Yeah, 1 point may separate.
It is, but I feel like after the race at Charlotte, I was sitting second. I ranked myself on that restart. I put myself in this position. Should have been a little bit more conservative in the first playoff race. But I treated tonight like a must-win, but now at least going to Dega, I'm not knowing I don't have to physically win now. At least relieves a little bit more pressure. When it's more in my control, but it still would have been nice to kind of get that win to go to Dega just for the fun of it, and don't have to worry.
I mean, we don't have a fast repair, and I mean Talladega is a track that you would probably love to see a fast repair thrown in there.
Yeah.
Talladega
had not been good to me during the C-Fix weekend, so
that's what I was kind of going with. That is, you probably would love to see a fast repair be thrown out there for Dega, but I mean. Every point's going to matter. I mean, we had 3 guys tied for 4th, 5th, and 6th before we started this race. We're probably going to wind up with at least multiple guys tied in different positions throughout the standings now with as many points as you got, some points Pacey and Byron got. Murphy and Dohar didn't get any points tonight. Ruiz didn't get any points tonight in the stages. So it just brings all of you guys, I think, from like 3rd to 8th or 9th are all going to be within like 8 points of each other if I'm doing my math right. So it's going to get crazy with, 18 guys out on track. Every point is going to matter. And with not having a win, I mean, you won Daytona. Can you take anything from Daytona to Talladega, or was that just a luck of a draw, lucky rabbit's foot, something happened and you just got the win? Because I don't remember seeing you win a super speedway prior to that race at any of the turn down for what super speedway races we've done.
Well, in the words of one of my favorite drivers would say, we go to Talladega and try to pull luck. In the words of my driver, Christabel would say, we're going to go to Talladega and try to pull a rabbit out of the hat. I guess. But, hopefully going to bring the same car, and we got good teammates here at CCR, and I believe we'll come with the game plan to go into that race, and hopefully executes just right, but knowing Talladega, it's all about just being there in the end more than going for stage points. And it's just the unknowns of that track of what can happen and when can happen. And
I mean, of the playoff drivers that are currently in the field, the only playoff driver that's not locked in that has been more dominant than anybody else in super speedways is Zach Meredith, and he is currently sitting right there on the cut line with you. So
I know they don't call it Talladega for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, between Cole, between Meredith, J-Paw, Enrique, those guys have been dominant as super speedways, and J-Paw and Enrique are not going to be there. Cole's out of the playoffs. This is, Meredith country you're going into now with those guys not being really in playoffs. That's got to be tough. I mean, as a teammate, I know you said you wouldn't do it tonight, Because it was
Oh,
Nate, and
oh, oh,
because
oh, oh,
oh,
my
okay,
corn at the end of that race will be torn up if it has to be to win that race. I don't
okay.
care how it would look. If that car did not have a front bumper or a rear, I don't care how it looks. As long as that thing's in victory lane, that's all that matters.
All right. Well, we heard it first here. I feel like it's going to be a wild one. Nate even said it's going to be a wild one to watch. I feel like that is going to be a race you're going to want. You're either going to want every family member or friend out there to come watch, or you're going to want none of them to come watch because you're afraid you're not going to make it through turn one. I feel like guys are going to be just pushing every chance they can get to get every single point they possibly can in the stages, every single point at the end of the third stage to win the race, or, throughout the race, you're going to have to do points in your head to say, you know what, I need to get to this position or else I'm out, or I need to go and get the win or I'm out. All those things are going to be running through you guys' heads. And luckily, you'll have Nate in there with you who does the points, so he's going to be able to sit there and maybe say, hey, you need to go get 2 more points, or hey, you need to go get another point. That might be able to be done, but you guys have a strong team,
I'll
so
come with my notebook and I'll come with some outcomes that what I can do and what I can jeopardize. But the main goal going there is just survive and be there in the end, like we were at Daytona. And maybe the luck of a rabbit's hat will fall in our favor again.
well,
I mean, Daytona was just in the last turn in the last trioval, so I mean.
we'll see what happens at Talladega. It will be a flip of a coin. It will be an exciting race to put on next week for the third race of the playoffs, the final race before we get to the championship. Then we'll take that 2-week break, come back, and finish off this season. We'll see if you make the final four. It's I'm super excited to even maybe not even just for the race, just to see the points at the end of the night, see how close it was for all of you. Like I said, there's so many people trying to get those points and only 2 available spots. So. Any shout outs for you?
Yeah, just shout out to everybody in this race. They did well and to keep it clean for Indy. A very fantastic race by everybody. Good hard racing, everybody battling pretty close, getting everybody room, give and take is what we would love to see. And shout out to everybody back at CCR, Bills, Kyle, Braid, even though he's really not here, but. And then, obviously, shout out to all the J. Paul militia, whatever. People still call them that, which I believe we do. And
That's what I always call it.
And obviously, shout out to Griff for pulling out the win. It was very fun to battle him all the way to the end. Me and him have a lot of respect for each other. And, we both came in here. He kept saying that he was going to vote for me. I was going to pull out the win. And I said he was going to probably win it. And one of us was going to have to go and probably win Talladega, which... Obviously, I get the luck of one trying to win Talladega, which isn't fun. But, no, and also just shout out to y'all for putting the broadcast. Couldn't be here without y'all and Mike Campbell in this race every week. And obviously to the awareness fundraiser y'all are doing for the breast cancer. Shout out to that.
Well, we definitely appreciate it, and it was definitely a fun race to watch, and I knew it was going to come down to minimum points before we get to Talladega, so gonna have to scratch and claw next week and get your way in there. But I have a feeling you got some good teammates to help you out.
I'm just glad this is an oval, not a road course.
Yeah, that is true. So congratulations on second place again.
So.
All right, we're going to bring up third place finisher Cal Taub in the 16, the first driver to be locked into the championship race here at Kansas for turn down for what? Kyle, you were looking pretty good here. You did wind up finishing 4th in the first stage. You finished 4th in the second stage. Not that you needed the points because you were already locked into the championship race. You finished 3rd tonight. You watch your 2 teammates go up there and battle it out. I'm first going to ask you, which one of the teammates would you have been pulling for? You got to pick one. Come on.
No.
Oh, come on.
No,
you could have easily said Nate.
No, but before this race even started, I was talking about Dega and whoever didn't end up winning this race. If it came down to Dega and I had to choose between them, I was backing out of the pack, and I wasn't going to be a part of it.
Oh, come on. That's not a teammate.
Wow.
Nate, you guys need to find a new teammate because I need a teammate that's going to be there with me and pushing me.
Can't make me choose between 2 of my teammates now.
Well, I mean, coming into this race, obviously, last week we talked to you and we said, would you be coming out here and trying to help a teammate, or would you be going for the win, or would you just, be riding around on a Sunday drive, or tonight being Tuesday, just kind of, biding your time until you get to Kansas. You said you wanted to keep up the confidence, you wanted to keep up the, the level that you were running for these several weeks here, where you've won the regular season championship, you get the first win in the playoffs at Charlotte, you come out tonight, you finish third. Were you going for the win, or were you just kind of watching back and saying, you know what, those two need this win, or one of them needs a win, needs the points, I'm going to let them go, or did you have a car to battle them?
I definitely think I had the car to battle them. Stages 1 and 2, I really try to just back it off and see what the tire wear was going to feel like, because both stages were different runs, so it was kind of hard to figure out how the right rear especially was going to wear throughout the first 2 stages. But once we got to the third stage, I had enough confidence, at least in my ability to keep the car straight enough to go and maybe make a push for the lead. But once I got to second and behind Griff, that dirty air was too much to overcome.
Well, with these stages, I think I need to tell Nate to go sit down with Jeff No and figure out how to do math when it comes to laps and stage breaks, because this threw me off with going 16 laps for the first stage and then going to lap 46 for the second stage and then having 75 laps total broken down. I was like, wow, why didn't we go 15-15 and then have a long run for the third stage? So these stages have been throwing me off all season, so keeping me on the toes a little bit here. But I know it's got to be tough for you guys to figure it out as well, because you have that short run to start the first stage, then you might have a decent run in the second stage, and then some of the third stages have been a little bit longer than the second stage, or right at the same level like tonight, where it was pretty close for the run. Does that really help you guys, or does it kind of set you back because you don't get to understand what the car is doing on a bigger run with it having a short run on the first stage?
It's really just depended on the track so far this season. At least with tonight, that second stage being basically the same as the third stage. The stage 1 was more of just like a feeling out period, just trying to see how it'll react, and then building upon that for stage 2. And then once we got to stage 3, most of the information we needed on how how the right rear was going to wear was already given to us.
All right, well, this is going to close it out for Indy. Uh, you and Nate are locked in. You can go into Talladega and not have to sweat about it. You can go throw caution to the wind too, and try to go all out and steal every point you can from playoff drivers who are trying to get in here. Um, you could lock this thing up with maybe 3 or 4 of the CCR guys getting in here if Hunter is able to get a win, or Zach Meredith's able to grab some stage points and things like that. We could see a top 4 going to the championship to be 4 CCR drivers, or maybe you guys aren't all CCR, but all militia guys going to the finals. Are you going to go for it? I know I asked you last week. Are you going to go for it at Talladega, or are you going to help your teammates?
Well, I mean, I don't think I've ever won a plate race on the service since
I
I've
don't
had
think
it.
you have either.
So I mean,
So
it's I'm gonna I'm gonna go for it. I'm not gonna just at the end of the race just sit back and just throw my hands up and surrender or whatever. But I'm gonna go for it. But last thing I want to do is jeopardize my teammates.
well, I take that as a 50-50 shot of helping a teammate or not. So that probably throws maybe not some full confidence in the teammates, but or it might throw a little bit of confidence that you might go with them. So I think I would probably leave it the same way. I would probably tell all drivers, I don't know if I'm going for it, or if I'm going to help a teammate, or if I'm going to lay back. I'll give you 3 choices. You figure out which one I'm going for. Throw a little bit of confusion out there, but any shout outs for you?
Yeah, just a shout out to my boys over at the militia guys, the ones that have stayed with us for this entire season. Appreciate their um, I guess consistency for keeping up with the season, as some of us have taken a step back and moved on to other groups. And then shout out to the admins here at Turn Down for What for getting this league to run as smoothly as it does. And then a shout out to you, Kurt, for the broadcasts.
Well, we definitely appreciate that as far as an admin and broadcaster. I know the drivers, you guys have all put on a show all season long. We've got one race left before we get to the championship, and I think it's probably going to be the most exciting race to watch as it's Talladega and a cut line race. So it's going to be exciting. I would definitely stay tuned for that race. Tune in, set your calendar, set your clock, whatever you got to do. But show up for next week's race because it's going to be an exciting one. And then make sure you set that also for the November 15th, I think, Nate or Mike, if you can correct me on that, if it's right, for the championship race at Kansas. Where four of these drivers that are racing tonight are going to go for that championship, and we have no idea who's going to make it out of Talladega and who's not. So, any one of them out of that top 10 that's left could make it in to that championship. So, we'll see what happens here. Big shout out to Shad for coming up into the booth with me, keeping me company. Big shout out to all the drivers, and always a big shout out to Papa Bear for putting on the league, allowing me to broadcast it. It's been a fantastic season so far. Got 2 races left, and I'm excited to see what happens and who we crown at the end of the season. Out of these 10 drivers that made it into the playoffs, any one of them could be going to the playoffs championship and walking away with that trophy and being happy at the end of the night. So big shout out to Sim Racing Channel out on Roku TV, all the people out in the chat, Mama Bear out there, Christine's Warriors that showed up tonight. Obviously, big shout out also to Bill Hells with everything he's got going on. Stay in the fight. We're here with you. You know, it's a big family. We'll do anything to try to help each other. So big shout out to him as well. And we'll catch you guys next week for Talladega, 3rd race of the playoffs. Catch you guys later.